Yo, what's up guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video as the new season of the Go Battle League is upon us. We are going to go through 10 total teams to potentially use to start your Go Battle League journey in the World of Wonders season. If you guys missed my video recapping some of the updates in the movesets and such and how that may affect the meta, feel free to check that video out from a few posts ago. But we have 10 total teams, 9 of which coming from European Shoutcasters from the Play Pokemon circuit. And stick around to the end for my bonus team that I plan on running later today once the new season goes live. Without further ado, let's get into it. The World of Wonders season. And the first team that we're going to be going over is from Amanda Lundberger. You see her on the screen already to start things off. Empoleon lead, Annihilate safe switch, and closer being Gallade. 2 of these Pokemon received move updates. The first being Empoleon with that Steel Wing. Steel Wing is going to generate energy a lot faster than Waterfall, a lot more reliable move. It's also a 2-turn fast move, and it's going to help Empoleon so much in the current meta. I think Empoleon is going to be a powerhouse in the Go Battle League. Might be a little bit tougher to use in competitive Show 6 formats because it does have a lot of counters in the meta, things like Charge-a-Bug, Annihilate, Whiscash, Poliwrath. However, the Steel Wing is going to help it so much against things like Azumarill, against grass types. Empoleon just straight up beats Venusaur now. It just straight up beats Venusaur because it's going to win the charge attack priority, and it's going to pace at the same rate to the Drill Peck. So Empoleon kind of nasty right now. And then Gallade, we talked about in the update video. Gallade with Psycho Cut going to pace so quickly to Leaf Blade, which is such a strong and consistent move, and also paces really quickly to close combat. It's only 4 Psycho Cuts to each Leaf Blade. That means Gallade paces faster to Leaf Blade than Swampert paces to Hydro Cannon. It paces faster to Leaf Blade than Whiscash paces to Mud Bomb. Ridiculous. And Annihilate, we know, he was new not too long ago, but now he's known in the meta, and we know how strong that can be. We will scroll down and reveal the next team here. Team number 2 comes from Nighttime Clasher, a caster and a recent regional champion. Probably one of the most quickly improved battlers in the scene. I first met Nighttime Clasher back in Arlington. I think it was his first ever regional, and he was super nice. Came up to me, he's like, "Yo, Rise, like I watch your videos. I've learned a lot from your videos, and I really appreciated that." And this dude is now taking it to everybody. He's number 2. He's ahead of me on the championship points leaderboard. Just an absolute killer of a battler, and has really made a name for himself in the community. Anyway, enough compliments, Nighttime Clasher. Let's see if your team stacks up here. He's running Giratina Origin form, which could be tough to acquire. If you're wondering, how the heck do you have a Giratina Origin for Great League? Well, we recently got it in the Sinnoh research, and if you trade it with a friend, preferably with low friendship, it can go under that 1500 CP limit, and you can use it in the Great League. I personally still don't have one because I'm waiting to trade mine with somebody, but Giratina, Registeel, Abomasnow, cool team. It makes sense, right? You're double weak to counter in the back. You have something that beats fighters in the lead. This team could be extremely tough if you see an Obstagoon lead. I don't know how you're going to overcome an Obstagoon, to be honest. But so if you're just willing to lose against Obstagoon, this team could have some play. Giratina, I think, is a really strong lead because unless you see a Lickitung, I feel like it has so much play against the meta right now. And Registeel, Abomasnow, you're kind of weak to fire in the back as well. So you may have to swap Registeel if you run this team to try and lure something out. Otherwise, I could see this team having a lot of play. The notes from Nighttime say stay in versus anything but Lickitung and Umbreon. All ghost movesets for Giratina and Icy Wind Obama. I think if you're running standard Abomasnow, Icy Wind is the play because it's a little bit bulkier and you can debuff things and really increase that bulk. If you're running Shadow Abomasnow, Weather Ball, in my opinion, might be the better play because you're more reliant on your damage output anyway. So having that fast-pacing Weather Ball for the Shadow, I think, could be better. Nighttime Clasher team doesn't want to see Obstagoon. And this next team from Mr. Tomahawk UK, who was recently added to the European caster roster. Tomahawk UK, you know, it's funny. I was watching the Liverpool regional, and I saw him get interviewed a few times, and this guy is so articulate and well-spoken. He's a treat to listen to as an interviewer. I think I mentioned in the Twitch chat, like, this guy should be a caster with how well he speaks. And what do you know? It was already in the works. And Tomahawk UK, the newest EU Shoutcaster. He's also multiple-time runner-up finisher at regionals, so an amazing battler. And he is running Guzzlord, Shadow Feraligatr making its first appearance on the graphic, and Mantine as a closer. Guzzlord is a really solid dragon, bulkier than some other dragon-type picks, and oppressive with that dragon tail damage. Shadow Feraligatr is going to be top meta. If you haven't heard the word, Shadow Feraligatr is legit, and it's going to be quite common for people that have it. Can get away with normal Feraligatr as well. I think Shadow is going to be a little bit better just because you have a harder hitting Hydro Cannon that can one-shot some things and maybe two-shot the bulkier Pokemon. And it's just going to be so fast, man. 5 Shadow Claws, 2 Hydro Cannon. It's amazing, as Zionic mentioned, how just one fast move change can totally impact a Pokemon and change it so drastically. You're a little bit weak to counter in the lead. You got your Feraligatr safe swap and your closer of Mantine. And I think Feraligatr is going to be a really solid safe swap as well. There's not a whole lot of things that are going to hard counter it at the current moment in the meta. Even things like Venusaur, if you safe swap it, they counter Venusaur. They're going to have to respect potential Ice Beam. You could bait the Hydro Cannon. Might be able to flip that matchup. So I like the team a lot. And also, we're still waiting. It's going to be a drum roll of how much energy Water Pulse is. If Water Pulse is 55 energy, it's not going to be very good. If it's 50 energy, it's going to be a pretty solid upgrade, but still not the best. If Water Pulse is 45 energy, it's going to be really good and really useful for things like Mantine and Celio. All right, that's the Tomahawk UK team. Let's move this up a little bit as we work our way down this graphic. Reveal the next battler, Mr. Tho Technical. You may have heard of him. Absolute legend in the community. And he is running a spicy team, Shadow Magnezone lead, along with Poliwrath and Giratina Origin closer. Notes say versatile team. Poliwrath can set up both Magnezone and Gira for a sweeping position. That makes a lot of sense. Excuse me. Poliwrath, a bulky safe swap. I can see that a lot. Even if you're not going to win switch advantage, you could maybe chip something, get a shield advantage, set up a Volt Switch down for Magnezone. You're double weak to Fairy in the back. So this is one of those ABB style teams, in my opinion. You probably want to swap Poliwrath against most things to lure out a potential Fairy. But to be fair, Fairy isn't the most common right now in the meta. So play it by ear. Don't have to swap out every time. Shadow Magnezone, I was actually running yesterday on stream. Extremely fun pick. You sometimes pull some games out of your butt that you feel like you don't have a chance. But just save a shield for Magnezone, and you might see something with little fast attack pressure. I actually had a game where I was up energy, and it was the one shield scenario, and my Shadow Magnezone actually beat a Gligar because I had a head start on energy. So I hit him with a Mirror Shot. I successfully shielded a dig. I baited Mirror Shot, and then I landed Wild Charge, which knocked out before he got to another dig. So pretty crazy. Shadow Magnezone, an absolute powerhouse, and then 2 strong Pokemon around it. Fun team from Tho Technical. I recommend you guys check out his channel, as well as some of these others. Lundberger recently started a new YouTube channel and a podcast, so check her out as well. Nighttime Clasher also streams. Koning Lionheart, a very, very talented caster over in Europe and a new Twitch streamer. I don't know if he's new. Maybe in terms of his GBL battles, he's a new Twitch streamer. But I feel like he's been streaming for a while. And he is running Rite Steel, Cresselia, and Hakamo as a closer. Brick Break got a buff recently. I think it's a little bit overhyped by some people, because it's 40 energy now as opposed to 35, so it takes you longer to get there, and it still does not hit very hard at all, but it does guarantee a debuff. So there is some additional play for Brick Break now. However, I don't know if I'd consider it a strict upgrade. I'd say it's more of a side grade. I mean, Brick Break was so bad before, to to put it boldly, that I think maybe you could say it's an upgrade because it guarantees a debuff now, but it's not like it's still a great move in my opinion. Anyway, Registeel, Cress, and Hakamo. I could see Future Sight maybe being the play with this Cress if you're using it as your safe swap, because otherwise I feel like a Skeledirge lead or really any fire type lead could be pretty rough for this team. But you could just be willing to sacrifice Reggie, I guess. Farm down with maybe Hakamo and then save your Cress in the back. Interesting team for sure. A ton of bulk in the lead and then a closer in the Hakamo. And one thing with the addition of Brick Break getting a debuff for the opponent's defense is it could be a more effective closer now that you can save shields for Hakamo potentially and then continually debuff the back Pokemon and allow those Dragon Tails to really ramp up in terms of the damage output. Cool team from Leonard, and now the man himself, Inadequence. It used to be he top cuts every time. Now is he top cuts sometimes because I think he's missed a couple top cuts, but still known as one of the top battlers in the world. And he is running Reggie, Goodra, and Shadow Dragonite closer. Goodra benefiting greatly from this Aqua Tail buff. It is now receiving the move Aqua Tail first, and the move Aqua Tail is also getting a slight damage buff to make it a stronger move. So Goodra before ran Muddy Water, pretty weak move as a bait move. Going to be a lot more consistent with Aqua Tail, and similar to Guzzlord, Goodra is a bulkier dragon. And you know, we can take a quick moment to go on over to pvpoke.com. Sometimes when I am kind of guessing like, wait, how bulky is this Pokemon? I look over on PvPoke and I compare it to things. So if I go over to this battle simulator and I look at like Goodra, let's see, Goodra has a stat product of 1867. So that kind of gives you a feel for how bulky it is. And we can compare it to something. So what's something off the top of my head that I feel like might be comparable in bulk to a Goodra? Let's say Swampert, I think, is a little bit less bulky, 1816. Maybe something like Annihilate. Annihilate's actually a slightly less bulky than Swampert. So Goodra, a little bit bulkier than some of these common meta picks. What's like a Talonflame stat product? 1834. So a little bit bulkier than a Talonflame. And if you compare it to fellow dragons like went all caps there. Dragonair. Dragonite, of course, very glassy. So like significantly bulkier than Dragonair. What about Guzzlord? Not quite as bulky as Guzzlord, but pretty close to it. So gives you a little bit of a feel for how bulky it's going to be. And if we do a little matrix battle here of Goodra now with Aqua Tail compared to Goodra as it was with Muddy Water, and then we compare it against the Great League meta, we're going to be able to see a simulation and see the matchup. So 4 matchups that this buffed Goodra picks up. The former Goodra would lose to Annihilate, Reggie, Galarian Stunfisk, and Umbreon. This Aqua Tail buff allows it to flip these matchups and have a record of 20 and 24 compared to 16 and 28. So pretty interesting stuff there as we go back on over to the team's graphic. And yeah, highly recommend pvpoke.com. The community in the state, I think, of battlers in the world wouldn't be where it is without PvPoke and everything he's done. That's the Inadequence team. Reggie Double Dragon seems pretty cool, pretty oppressive. If you see a Whiscash, you safe swap the Goodra, potentially lure out some sort of ice type or fairy type, close it out with Reggie, and then hopefully 2 Shield Dragonite closer. I could see that putting in a lot of work. I might try out that team myself. Next team comes from Adelian, one of the most hype casters in the community, and also just a tremendous human being. He's always putting on social events and stuff over in London, running the London's finest community, and it's always a pleasure when I get to see Adelian at events, as I have a few times before. He's running Annihilate, Shadow, Feraligatr, and a Talonflame closer. I mean, pretty standard. I could see Charjabug being an issue for this team. However, I think Annihilate can hold its own, and the back Pokemon as well can kind of hold their own against Charjabug. So Charjabug could be difficult here. His notes say Annihilate and Feraligatr pull shields easily, so Talonflame can sweep. That makes a lot of sense. So that makes a lot of sense. So you get the shield advantage, hopefully, from Annihilate, and then up shield both of your back Pokemon. Super dangerous when up on shields. This is a fun-looking team that I could see myself trying out as well from Adelian. Next trainer, Zionic, who all of you, I'm sure, know very well. Zionic, one of the biggest YouTube content creators in the community, if not the biggest. Zionic is running Guzzlord, Shadow for Alligator, Lantern. Zionic always runs pretty fun teams, and of course another Shadow for Alligator here, as it is going to be the real deal. It's not just some hyped up spice pick, in my opinion, that people are hyping up. I think it's going to be legit and will probably be seen quite a bit for people that do have a Shadow for Alligator. He's running it with Lantern, and it makes a lot of sense, right? You double water. You're kind of weak to grass in the back, but you have something that's really good against grass in the lead. Lure out the grass type with the for Alligator, and Guzzlord can hopefully farm it down and then really open up that Lantern in the back. Cool team from Zionic. Guzzlord Lantern makes an excellent core. Abomasnow is tough, but Guzz and Gator have play. I totally agree. Honestly, even Lantern in some scenarios has play against Abomasnow because the Powder Snows are indeed resisted. So, cool team from Big Z. And let's go on to the next squad. Reveal who it is. Count Xevious. Abby, a friend of the channel, let me stay at his apartment when I was touring a few countries over in Europe after Worlds in London, and super nice guy. He's running Goodra, Shadow for Alligator, and Lantern as a closer. So very similar team to the Zionic team, except Goodra in the lead instead of Guzzlord. And Goodra probably a little bit more flexible and a little bit more safe than Guzzlord, because you don't have as many weaknesses with that pure dragon typing. However, Guzzlord has its own uses as well, and maybe provides some better coverage. But yeah, this is probably one of those ABB teams, once again, where you want to swap out with the for Alligator to lure out the water counter, and then farm down with Goodra, and Lantern can hopefully be free in the back if you lured out the water counter. Cool team from Count Xevious. And good luck to him. I forget if he's casting this weekend as well, or if it's Adelian. And that's the full list, but that's 9 teams. I promised you 10. And the team that I plan on running as a bonus team for this weekend is going to be Vigoroth, Shadow for Alligator, and Mandibuzz. So that's what I'm planning on running on stream today for my first battles of the season. I'll be streaming at 3 p.m. Central Time. And I hope to see you there. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, tell me what Pokemon you're most excited, most looking forward to run this Go Battle League season. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Also, shout out to Inadequence for the graphic, and shout out to him. I'll leave a link to the full graphic and his Twitter in the description. All that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.